Let's take a little trip back in time to last year when everybody was getting AI Christmas photos and posting them all over social media. I will admit I did have a little bit of FOMO, and some of the pictures looked okay, some of them very much not. And it got me thinking, could I actually make one of these outfits? Hi everyone and happy holidays! Today's video, I am going to make a Christmas dress. And not just any Christmas dress, a Christmas dress that AI spat out last year. I think we've all seen AI images, and on closer inspection we've thought, some of that just doesn't make sense. And there was one picture in particular where the dress looked very impressive. But looking a bit closer, I was like, hang on a minute. So I want to have a go at making it. I ordered myself some kind of burgundy Duchess satin online, which is a pretty good colour match, although it's a bit thicker than I would like. But we're going to make it work. So let's head over to the computer and let's examine this image. Okay, so let's have a look at this image. I chose this one because it looks really pretty, it looks very, very Christmassy, and it's got a lot of things that hopefully I can have a bit of fun making. So, first off, what's going on here? It's a lantern with some sort of Christmas decoration growing out of it. We've got the banister to nowhere. I don't know what's going on in this area here. It is all very confusing. But enough taking the mickey out of the AI trying to make a room. Here, it looks like we have princess seams. That's simple enough. It's also quite fitted around the hip area and then appears to flare out a bit at the bottom. So I'm going to use my pencil skirt pattern, turn it into princess seams and then flare it out. Sleeve wise, I can just use my regular sleeve pattern. One thing that concerns me a little bit is these sleeves look a little bit fitted. But with the fabric that I've got, I don't think I'm going to be able to have them this fitted and still be able to bend my arms. The collar appears to be like a stiff collar with interfacing that fastens at the back. I'm judging that off the fact that there's no wrinkles or anything like that in it. And the bodice, it's tried to do a thing. It looks like it's supposed to be princess seams, possibly. Or it's darts that come up too high and then some creases because it's not been drawn in very well. We have this detail at the front, which I'm assuming is stitched. And then we've got a placket here with what appears to be one button. There's no visible stitch lines or anything here, so I'm not entirely sure how that placket is staying in place. Usually when I do a shirt or something that fastens at the front like that, I would have a seam going down here. I'm not sure if I can get away with not doing it. I'm probably also not going to bother with the button here because you can't see it anyway. This whole area here, to me, it seems like just a waste of fabric, to be honest, because this dress has to fasten at the back. There's no way around it. It has to fasten at the back because this stops at the waist, so you wouldn't be able to get it on over your head or over your hips because that's too narrow, and the collar fastens at the back. So this whole bit here is just for decoration. The belt, that should be pretty simple. It looks like there's supposed to be some belt loops there. Not 100% sure if this is supposed to be like the normal type of like buckle that you'd get on a belt, or if it's like just a thing that's slid over. That's not 100% clear. The only ones I've got are the normal ones anyway, so we're going to go with that. So, pattern wise, for the skirt, front is going to be on a fold here. We're going to eliminate these two darts and we're going to have it go like that. Same for the back piece. Turn that into princess seams there, and then with both of them we're going to add on some flare to the bottom. Obviously there's going to be a seam there, and obviously get rid of this, make it all into one floor length piece. For the bodice, the back, we're just going to get rid of this dart and make that into a princess seam. And then for this one, we are going to close this dart up, swing it into there, and then make that into a princess seam. Let's get rid of that, and we are also going to do that little detail there. We do need to have a placket on here, so this needs to be extended, and I'm going to try and do it like a all-in-one placket, so that's probably going to end up in a weird shape there. Sleeve, just going to use my regular sleeve block pattern. And for the belt, I'm just going to do a big long strip that will be folded in half and then top stitched on each side. So reasonably simple. So I am going to make this into an actual usable sewing pattern, and we will go from there. Hello, it is the next day. Yesterday I got everything cut out and overlocked. Please excuse any noise in the background, I have a wash on. But priority today is going to be sewing together the bodice. So I want to get me top and me bottom for me front piece together, and then I'm going to do my little foldy over placket thing for the buttons, which again, yes, I'm making the one from the image, but there is no reason for that button placket to be there and for there to be buttons there, because they don't do anything. But we're going to get it done. And yeah, once that's done, I can attach the bodice bit to the skirt, and then I want to sew the shoulder seams. And essentially I will have a complete front, back, open at the sides and at the back, and then I can worry about sleeves, because I always prefer putting sleeves on where I attach it when it's flat and then sew down the arm and then down the side seam. So much easier. I'm hoping to get all that done today, so tomorrow I only really need to worry about the collar and the hem, because I booked my friend to shoot at 2. I should get it done. It is a reasonably simple design. There's not that much embellishments or anything to do. So yeah, first things first, get those front bits done. Okay, so the dress is done apart from the hem. Luckily, the image that I'm trying to recreate is cut off just above the hem anyway, so I can get away with it for the pictures because my friend is going to be coming quite soon and I still need to do my hair and makeup. So I think I've got just enough time to do the belt. I have got some stiff interfacing and I have got my very last gold buckle. So yeah, looking at my reference, again, this is AI, so AI doesn't understand that belts need to fasten and stuff. It just copies what pictures of belts look like. So there's no indication whatsoever about how long the little flappy bit needs to be. So I'm going to do it quite short so that it would just tuck into the first belt loop. So in order to work that out, I need to actually do some measurements. Okay, I'm going to call it 37, including seam allowance. So the other measurement that I need is the width of this. So that is coming to 1¼ inches. So I'm going to cut myself out a big long strip of this to 37 inches, and then we can also use this as a guide for cutting out the actual fabric. Okay, so I've got this cut out. I added a bit extra on the end to do the little foldy over bit, and for the other end of the fabric piece I have just rounded off this way. When the seam allowance is in and it is folded over, I'll have a nice kind of rounded end to that. So I am going to iron my seam allowances in and then sandwich this inside, and then we can sew this down along each edge.
A few minutes later.
Okay, well, I did the shoot. I did run out of time, so I wasn't able to finish the belt. I just kind of wrapped it around and pinned it in place. I also didn't get to do the belt loops because I spent way too long trying to turn these inside out. But you know what? That's what Photoshop's for, and I will be going through the process of editing the final image as well, because I would like to talk a little bit about AI and how, in my opinion, using traditional editing methods will always work better. So what I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to finished making the belt, and also now that I've had a chance to have a look at the dress, I did the experiment. I made it how it looks in the image. I do want to make a wearable version, so I'm not wasting that fabric in that dress. So I will go through that later, what little changes I'm going to make. But now we have this, we have rivets, and we have this, and I am going to make this belt. Right, I've stitched around the edge of that, and now I just need to put a rivet in there. I don't actually have a rivet attachment for this, but I've managed to do it with another project, which is going to be a video coming out probably in January now, because we've had a delay with getting the final images done. And yeah, I've kind of figured out that if I do the bit that I want to look nice on this bottom bit, then it sometimes looks okay if I manage to get the angle perfect. So I just need one of them and one of these. The problem I've got is I'm way too clumsy and uncoordinated for doing things like this. Right. That's not going anywhere for now, and I just need to squish it down. That has actually come out quite good. I'm pleased with that. This is our belt done, apart from I need to put the little holes in for actually fastening it. Those I'm going to do by hand. I'm just going to do the same thing that I did with this, doing like a hand bound eyelet. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is have a little play on the computer in Photoshop. Okay, so after my shoot with my friend, this is what we ended up with. It's not brilliant. I have done some work to this, done some skin retouching, tidied up some wrinkles that were going on the front here, and there were also a bunch of wrinkles all over the collar. It was really, really bad. So I have just gotten rid of them. I completely forgot to take my little candle with me because I was in a hurry. So we used one of the theatre flyers as a stand-in. And I just want to run through with you the changes that I made. So the first thing I did was to give my hair a little bit more of a tidy and make it a bit fuller, because my hair was looking very flat and I tried to curl it, and by the time I got to the theatre the curls had gone. So just added in some hair there. Next thing I did was just a levels adjustment, because in the source image the shadows were a lot deeper. Next I just added a little bit of a glow to the candle, added even more of a glow to the candle, and I added in the belt from the finished version. Next step, I added in some Christmas trees. These are not AI, these are real trees that I got from a stock image website. You're always going to have problems with things like that, with cutting out the background. But there's little things you can do to help it along, and I'm not looking for realism in this picture. I'm just proving that you can get the same sort of effect as you can with an AI picture. We do want to hide some crimes, so this area down here was looking a little bit shit, so I just added in some little presents and I just tidied up the edges of the branches there. I also hid some crimes on this side as well. I also deepened the shadows here too, because I am standing here and the tree is supposed to be in the background, so you would naturally have some little shadows going on there. Next thing I did, as you can see, this is part of like a big window frame that's here, and this area was just doing my head in, so I extended that just to make it look like the tree was behind something. Then I added in some more, try and make it look like maybe the tree was behind the banister and there was a logic behind what was going on. Next I just did a bit more adjustment with lights and shadows, again just to match the picture. The belt and this area were looking a little bit like they didn't quite fit in, so I just altered the shadows there. And then the next thing I did was, because this Christmas tree is obviously giving off a bit of light because it has like orange Christmas lights on, so you're gonna get a little bit of a colour haze on the wall. And then the final thing I did, because I just felt like this area was looking wrong, I just added in some more of these to the back, so it looked sort of like there is a banister type situation going on and maybe this wall is in the background more. Personally, I prefer to use traditional methods, especially because, like you can see here, I wasn't quite happy with this. So I added in some more kind of branches sticking out and stuff that I just painted in myself. See? They're just drawn in. And that's the sort of thing that if you typed into AI, like the generative fill thing, make these stick out a bit more, it's not going to know what you mean. I just want to compare these two images for a second and touch on something else which I think is very important, and that is on the subject of mental health, because obviously these two images look different. This is what my body shape actually looks like. This is not. And this is a body shape that there is absolutely no chance I could achieve. Even if I lost weight, I could not achieve this body shape because I can't change the shape of my skeleton. I cannot make my neck that long. I cannot change that I'm short-waisted and this isn't. Unless I pad every day, I cannot achieve hips like this because I have hip dips. And I can see if people are on a regular basis plastering their face onto AI, it's really, really going to affect their mental health, because they're going to be seeing their face on an idealised body that isn't theirs. And it's going to make them feel bad about themselves. It's going to make them only want to post AI images of themselves online and not show the real them, because they've kind of been warped into thinking that they need to look like this when they don't. Personally, I really like the way I look in this picture, although this pose was so hard. Seriously. To achieve this, and still I would have needed to twist my upper torso round a bit more to get more like this, and I couldn't because that pose hurts so much to get into. It doesn't look that bad, but then when you actually try to do it, it is really, really hard. But anyway, personally, I think this image looks much better than this one for, say, a Christmas card, because this is actually me. And yes, it looks photoshopped, but this also looks fake. So personally, I would want to go with the photoshopped picture that is of a real person, the real achievable body. than an AI picture where it doesn't even know exactly what kind of dress it's trying to make, and it doesn't know what she's supposed to be holding in her hand. I still do not know what's going on here. But yeah, what I need to do now is try and make this into more of a usable dress. I think I would have got closer if I had used a stretch fabric, even though like the draping down here and stuff, it like the little folds and stuff makes it look like it's not a stretch fabric. I think a lot of the form-fitting areas you wouldn't, and especially the sleeves being like fitted around here, I think you'd only really be able to get that with a stretch. What I need to do is, I'm not going to bother altering the sleeves because it's going to be a pain taking them off. And I want to make sure I can actually still bend my arms in them. This area here though, this ended up being way too bulky and annoying because of the amount of fabric that's in this area here. It was really irritating. This collar was also way too high. Like, I need to take off like an inch on it or so in order for it to be a usable collar that is actually comfortable. So I'm going to whip the collar off, make a new one. I'm going to whip this front panel off, and I'm just going to make a regular center seam front panel with that little V-shaped bit in it. I think that's going to be a lot neater and it's going to be so much less bulky. I am also going to actually put the belt loops on and then I can put the belt on. So I am going to do all that and then we will see the final reveal. Okay, so do I think that this project was successful? Yes and no for a number of reasons. One of the ways I think this project has been successful is that I was able to prove to myself, if not other people, that I don't think we have to worry just yet about AI taking everybody's jobs, because there are some things where you need a human eye. You can't rely on AI to know what seams are and what closures are and how a human being would get a garment on and stuff. So you do still need that human eye to look at a thing and say, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, that couldn't work in that way. It's also successful in that I do have a pretty Christmas dress. I do quite like it, especially after making the little alterations like to the front that I did and to the neck. Again, like having that placket down the front, it was too bulky. That was the main problem with it. It was too bulky. And it also didn't make sense. And I hate features on things that don't make sense. To get the nice style lines with having the nice little pointy bit here, you need it to be symmetrical. You can't have the crossover. I'm also much more happy with the neckline now that I have lowered it, because I can actually move. I'm not restricted like I was before. I also just don't suit a neckline that high. I've only got a short neck, so you need to be able to see a bit of my neck still in order to know that I have one. There are two things which I think could be improved on future projects. One of them is this fabric is too thick for this project. It'd be lovely for, say, a wedding dress or something like that needs to be quite structured. This is just too thick for this dress though. It ended up making the seams too thick. It's made the drape a bit off. also kind of wants to ride up as well, which is annoying because I have to keep pulling it down. That does lead me to the second point, and that is that in the new year I 100% have to remake my bodice block and my skirt block, because I have changed shape again since I made them, and so there are some little fit issues here and there. Like the bust fits quite nicely here, but then lower down around the kind of waist area and stuff, it's not fitting as well as it could. So that is something that needs to be revised at some point. Overall though, I am really happy. It's a really pretty dress. I really like it. I can't think of any occasion that I would need to wear it to. Maybe next year or something, if there's a Christmas do, I might wear it to that after making some little tweaks to it. Thank you everybody for watching. Doing all the little YouTubey things will be very much appreciated. Like, comment, share. I hope you are all having a wonderful holiday season. I'm very much looking forward to the new year. Next video I'm going to upload is going to be a sort of my plans for the new year sort of job. YouTube is saying that you might like this video next, and I will see you next time. Bye!